We welcome you. Welcome. Are you guys ready? So this is kind of fun. I kind of feel like they let us out of our cages from setting up chairs and sweeping floors and stuff. And once a year we get to announce a speaker. So this is it. Making the most of it. Because this might be our last chance too. I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. But anyway, this is fun. This is fun for me. So we welcome you out. The speaker is Melissa Barton. So I was hanging out in her last class just to kind of see what she was talking about. And I guarantee you will not be bored. I guarantee you that you will learn something or it will reinforce something that you already know. I guarantee it. If you don't, come to me and we'll give you your money back. So I'm going to read Melissa's bio. So Melissa Barton is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I was debating whether I should say this last part or not, and I'm going to go ahead because she's a certified sex therapist too. I guarantee you won't be bored. Melissa's passion is to assist others in creating deep connections in their relationships and with themselves, and that is absolutely true after being in her last class. She is trained as a couples and individual therapist. Her specialties are betrayal, sexual trauma, intimacy, religious stress, divorce blending families, conflict in relationships, self-worth, anxiety, depression, and emotional neglect. So if you've got like one or more of those, this class is for you. She loves volleyball, which I do too. I could play volleyball and dance all day long. Soccer, swimming, cycling, singing, dancing. And family game night. Her greatest joy is quality time with her children and deeply connecting with her handsome husband. They are navigating the blending of families and understand the struggles and joys. She is expert in emotionally focused therapy, internal family systems, and EMDR, whatever that is. Melissa and Brad host a variety of discovery retreat programs, and I got to say something, because if you know me, I've got stories. So, she gave me permission to say this. So, this is all about connecting, right? And intimacy, we know, is a gift from God. In the right time, the right place, with the right person, for the right reasons, it's probably one of the most beautiful experiences we'll have. That being said, so about 14 years ago, we're at the Orem Dance, and there's a group of us standing around, and mixed couples, or mixed people, and I said, if I get married again, I never want to have sex with my wife. And people turned around and started walking away. And I said, I want to make love to her, not have sex. So if you know what the difference is, this class is for you too. So anyway, so we'll turn over to Melissa.
Give him a hand. Goodness, I think you might need to come back. Those are some great stories, Gary. Okay, I am my husband's girlfriend. I am. He's my boyfriend, and I'm his girlfriend, and we have a lot of fun. I have a great big picture in my office, this big, and it has a huge elephant in the middle. Couples that come in, or individuals, we like to talk about the elephant in the room. And it is my intervention piece, right? And now I have 3 other elephants in the room too. I have one this big, and one this big, and then one this big. Because sometimes the elephant in the room is smaller. Sometimes it's really big. So whatever one we need to talk about, we're going to talk about some of those things in here. Gary said, wow, this is really interesting in all the years, I don't know how many that is, that he's been attending. I had a conversation about sexuality and we're doing that. And hopefully I want to honor wherever you are on your journey. Just kind of be open to learning, kind of looking at your scripts inside, negative, positive, whatever happens inside, just let it happen and just notice it. Take notes. If there's time, we are going to do some questions at the end, but I'm going to have you email or text them to me because in case, so then I can read it first. I'm going to give you this number. It's just a throwaway number. And if you have a question that comes up in the middle, or sometime, 385-200-1339. 385-200-1339. If you have a question or you want to make a comment. Okay. And because I am 49, I'm in that stage where I don't know what to do with these. So if anybody can relate? No, maybe should have somebody give me the bifocal ones that I can see. Progressive, thank you. That's what I need. I want you to look around. Has anybody been to a football game? Oh. Can you repeat that number? Yes. 385-200-1339.
Thank you.
Yeah. Has anybody been to a football game, a basketball game, church lately? Right? You're sitting here in this room. I want you to look to your left and to your right, in front of you and behind you. I want you to look around. Really look. Because everyone today is here because of sexuality. It's not a secret. It's not a scandal either. It's just not this horrible thing. This elephant in the room that we never talk about. We're here. And my office is in Orem, so I imagine like the big football stadium's close by, and I think there's so many people in there, and we rarely talk about sexuality, and you're everywhere. So it is everywhere. Like the creation is right here in front of us, procreation, and we're going to talk about not just procreation. Very little on that, by the way. We're going to mostly talk about creation. And that we are created, and it is good, and God is good, and He created us, and we are like Him. Your sexuality is not separate from your faith, it's woven into it. Your sexuality is not an obstacle to righteousness. It's a sacred part of your morality. Your sexuality is a part of your spirituality. It is a part of your soul. And that's why we're looking around and seeing all these souls that are intertwined with your sexuality. And yet, we become so afraid of our sexuality. We become afraid of our bodies. We fear our bodies. We fear the feelings inside. We shame them. I have a unique relationship with shame. I actually love shame, just so you know. And I want all you to love shame too. Give me the shame on me. Because shame points us somewhere. It shows us where the places that are hidden, right? And then if you go a little deeper, there's two parts of shame. There's one that is shaming and one that to be shamed, right? This is pretty deep. And I love it because with my clients, if we find that shame, then we find the places that are hurt. So what is a sex therapist? You're probably wondering that. Maybe 7 of you know, and there's a lot of people that are, there's some that are sex therapists that are out there, and it's crazy. It's awesome. It's kind of like getting a double master's. So any of you could just say you were a sex therapist. I mean, you can say that. But I am an ASECT certified sex therapist. It comes with a little extra training and doing some things, learning some things that really build up empathy for what people are going through. We literally have to sit in classes where we watch things on film that I never knew, that I didn't know. Like It's kind of like hazing a little bit, if you want to think about it that way. So to grow my empathy, to grow that, like, what is happening for people? What is out there? What are the things, the kink, or the things that people are doing and hurting, and the different ways that they're feeling sexual in their bodies? And I learned a lot in some of those things, that being raised in LDS faith, that I had to kind of sit with, and then we process in groups with each other and how to navigate that, because one of the sections was literally about you, about LDS, even though it wasn't about LDS. It was about religious people, and this, sometimes I call it this valley or this state, and the different feeling that we have here sometimes than maybe in back east might show up. I had a professor that talked about helping clients back east, and I'm going to say some words today that are big words, just so you know, so that I can hear one coming in my brain. So I just wanted to warn you. And so it's over here. And he told us this story of doing therapy back east. And he had him, talking to this woman. They're just having their conversation. And she talked about how her son was masturbating, and she kind of just walked by and shut the door and carried on. And then he came to Utah, and he was a therapist, and he said that he's not of our faith, and he said that was not what was happening anymore in his offices. The mothers, dragging children in, right, and this shame and the difference. And I just remember sitting in class, wow, this is very different. And maybe not all of you were raised here, but that is not, I'm not saying that is the way or that is the way. Those are kind of different ends of the spectrum for us to be in the middle and to kind of really understand what is happening for this child and how to have a conversation about it, instead of, I have heard many horror stories of people being grabbed by their parent and taken to the bishop immediately because they're going to go to hell, right? Their child is, and they got to save them. And then that person is now 30 or 40 in my office or something, or that mother or that father. And so I just, again, ask you to open yourselves if you have been a part of that too. I have. Maya Angelou, is that her name? Yes. Says, when you know better, do better. And that's how I feel as I've raised my children. I may have started out raising them with a little bit more rigidity, and it has changed a lot. I'm going to leave that for a second. Okay, so what a sex therapist is, also, I actually probably the question that you may have is I actually help people to know how to actually do sex. So that is a part of my job. So just so you know. Because that's kind of what it sounds like that I probably am. But I also help people with their faith around sexuality, about their value system, betrayal trauma. I also help couples that have never consummated their marriage, that have been married 3, 4, 5 years. And humbly, I sometimes think to myself, there's a lot of little babies that in a way I've been a part of now. And it's a very humbling experience. There's real reasons for that. There's vaginismus, that's pain that's in the vagina. And there's narratives. And narratives of what we're going to talk about too a little bit is the narratives that we carry can shut down our sexuality pretty hard. And the trauma that we carry can shut down our sexuality. And sitting with people that have had that happen in their lives is breathtaking and it's reverence for me. It's an honor. I have had days that I have shut the door and at the last session and laid on the floor and cried. Cried a lot. Because there's a lot of pain that we're not talking about. That's the bigger elephant in the room than sexuality. There's so much pain. And I want to shout on the rooftops from the top of the mountains, just like Samuel. I want to shout, like, come on. We got to be here for each other. We got to help each other. We got to talk about these things that we're just pushing down underneath into the dark pit. And guess what? They don't stay there. They come out. If they're not taken out in light and love and honor and reverence, they find their ways out because we are resilient. We are full of grit, and our bodies figure out how to figure out what they need. Just like if I really think I need a cookie, I'm gonna find me a cookie. So that's a little bit about what a sex therapist is. The desire differences is a pretty big one for couples. And then betrayal trauma, there's a lot of that, and it has a lot to do around sexuality. I kind of tease that I am the permission person or police. There's so many people that I like, yeah, you can do that. You're normal. Right. So it's kind of a little joke that I have with myself. But for some reason, we're adults and we gotta have permission. So that's sometimes a little thing that I do. I am speaking to you today because this message matters. Those are two M's together. And at the age of 41, I found myself single again. I had been married for 20 years and I was blessed with 6 beautiful children. And it was tough. It's not something that how'd this happen? Well, this is not my story. It's my story. It's not my story. I did not know that was going to be my story. Can't believe I'm telling you that that's my story. It's just really still amazing. And I was dating, and I did not like dating, just so you know. It is a tough job to date. It's like a job. And it can be. And for me, this is my experience. And I get that it's not everyone's experience. It is a lot. When you have 6 children, too, that's a lot. She's got 6 children. And I was navigating all of this also, my sexuality. And one of the neatest experiences that I take from that time is dating. I learned so much about men. Even more than I had. In a deeper way than I ever had before. My heart, grew 2 sizes, like Grinch, right? It really did. I heard the pain, and I know there's 2 stories, everything, because I'm a therapist. I embraced all of that. But for my personal story, that was really touching. And it wasn't in a way of them telling me things to try to marry me or something. They just felt really safe to talk to me. And so I do appreciate your story, and I get you, and I honor you and your journey today. I want to tell you this little story. It's called The Parable of the Covered Mirror. And because Tim, I think it is, did such a great job at hooking this up, I'm going to remember that I actually have a slideshow to do. I get on these soapboxes. Okay. And here. Oh. Okay. Here's a little mirror. Parable of the Covered Mirror. There once was a young woman who inherited a beautiful handcrafted mirror from her grandmother. I want you to sit with that. ornate, ancient, passed down for generations. But in her family, it was kept under a thick velvet cloth. We don't use that. We don't acknowledge that. Talk about that, they said. It's dangerous. It might reveal things that you are not ready to see. Let's just pretend it doesn't exist. She grew up avoiding it, always aware that it was there, but never lifting the cover. Late at night, she'd feel drawn to it, curious, even afraid, but told herself, good people don't look into that mirror. In a season of deep loneliness, she finally lifted the cloth. The mirror reflected. I don't want you to hear the stories from my boyfriend on my computer. He just texted me. In a season of deep loneliness, she finally lifted the cloth. The mirror reflected not just her face, but a glow in her eyes, a vibrancy she hadn't known. At first, she was confused, conflicted, amazed. She was startled not to see shame. Hallelujah. Instead, she experienced wholeness. She saw life, longing, and a desire to be known emotionally, spiritually, and soulfully. From then on, she didn't leave the mirror out for just anyone. But she didn't cover it in shame either. She learned to tend it, to honor it, and share its reflection with someone who saw her with reverence, passion, and delight. This mirror is our sexuality. And it was never the danger. The danger was the silence, the shame that I love, and the fear of looking into it, the fear of really looking into it. So sexuality is not a flaw to overcome, but a sacred part of our divine design. Created by God for connection, joy, creation, and delight. When I was at UVU Institute, I kind of had a small, I will talk about addiction, I believe, in a minute. I may have had a small addiction for UVU Institute. So Scott Anderson was all my teachers, I swear. And one of my classes, I remember sitting there and we were talking about this. What class would that be? And they said, who was raised talking about sexuality in your home? And I think there was 2 of us out of 30. And is that okay if I ask you guys? Who was taught about sexuality in their home? I would say that's like 10%, 15%. And I'm thinking, what? How? And if you kind of ask me how long I've been a sex therapist, I kind of think to myself since I was 13. Not that anything happened then, that doesn't make you a sex therapist. I just felt compelled and called to share things, girls talk and things like that. And I would learn things from my mom. And that's the resiliency again of children. They talk about it. They're going to talk about it with their friends. Guarantee you. They're going to talk about it with this. They're going to find out. And this is not true. It's strewed. Oh, excuse me. The notion of the fact that you and I are created for connection deeply matters to me, both professionally and personally. And I sit with people every day who have very strong feelings about their sexuality for opposite reasons. A lot of painful. Too much desire, not enough desire, they're not enough, too ashamed, too wounded, not interested, I hate it, I don't care if I ever have it again. All the things, all of them. Over and over, I see in our culture, especially within our faith community, that we haven't been taught how to understand our sexuality without the lens of shame. Maybe that doesn't feel true to some of you, but maybe it does. Maybe a fear, maybe more. Like, don't do that or else. So many people believe that they are very bad all the way through, inherently disgusting, hopelessly irredeemable. My mom and dad were incredible. I really like them. My mom is my hero. She's watching. My dad's 84. My mom and dad were not quite like other parents as far as sexuality. It was nothing strange, except for what I'm about to tell you. You can tell me if you think it's strange. My dad was married before and had 2 children before he met my mom. And that relationship, my dad tells me now very tenderly, that he did not know how to nurture and be tender towards his first wife. And he does have a lot of regret for that. And it's taken some time for him to kind of go there. And so they had their cycling. Cycling means conflict to me. My mom was married before him also and had 4 children. And she had some betrayal trauma in her relationship. And then they found themselves in Logan, Utah at a singles dance. I think my mom, I could probably think my mom was like 27, 4 kids probably. She's, and my dad was same age, and he was going to school there. She grew up in California, was only staying there for a minute. He was teaching there. And they went to a singles dance. And my mom saw my dad, breathtaking. I mean, he's just so handsome. He had a turtleneck sweater on, she tells me. Now, my dad, I have never seen in a turtleneck sweater in my entire life. So this was a very good day for him, for my mother. It was an enlightened moment for him. She had a little bit of a raw spot inside of her because she never saw another turtleneck after that day. And she told us many times that she's really upset about that. So they met and fell in love. And then they had 7 more children. And so that's 13 in all. And so all of them are my brothers and sisters, right, half. And I am number 9. So put that in context. In the bottom 7 that we had, 6 were girls. And 1 was boy, and his name's Clint, and he was the fox in the hen house. And we all screamed all the time. So it was great. So they decided to create this beautiful life together. My dad is a mechanic and a welder, and he works on the big swathers and things. My mom grew a big garden and changed all the diapers. She taught us how to can, how to sprout, how to do all the things. Like, I could deliver a baby, probably, and be grinding wheat and all those things. Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm the one you need to call if you're starving. And I will tell you what to do with all that wheat you've had in there for 30 years. We can sprout it or I promise. So she taught me all these things. And it would kind of give you a little understanding. So what we did is when I was probably in 4th grade, I remember I was sitting in the kitchen at the table for family night. My mom told us that we were going to talk about sexuality that night. She didn't call it sexuality. She called it sex. And if we had any questions about that, then we were to put them in a box, anonymous box, right? So I was so excited, but what did I know? And I don't remember. I wish I did remember what my siblings put in there, because I don't remember anything. Because you know, that's like, we remember these certain things because it was a little traumatic to me. And not that this whole thing was traumatic, but it was traumatic that my question, after I figured out what it was years later, and I think, why did I ask that? So I put the question in there, when do girls start wearing bras? Okay, I was the only 4th grader that I was the next person to wear a bra. So in my little brain, I was mortified after I thought, they figured out it was me, right? Girls wear bras, and I'm just and so that just, it kind of gives an understanding of what we did in our family, right? Now, my mom taught me other things about sexuality, a lot about procreation parts of it and appropriate age kind of things. She didn't do that great maybe on some of the things about, I wish she would have right before I got married, about pleasure, about relaxation, about afterglow. Do you guys know what that word means? It's not the group. You guys actually know what afterglow is. My younger clients don't know. They're like, so, okay. That is after the end of a sexual cycle, when you're holding each other. That's called afterglow. And a lot of my clients don't hold each other, so we have to teach them how to wait. Okay, that was a little side note. So she didn't teach those quite as much. But she did give me a foundation that I felt really positive. So now as a therapist, I see how much that early permission has shaped my life, and talking about and having comfort and talking about it openly. And I love to share this passion with others. Because I have a friend that I said to her one day, why am I talking to people about this? I have a lot more of a positive view. I mean, I have had things in my life. I have some trauma. And by the way, another word for trauma is buried treasure. I have some buried treasure inside of me. It's pretty painful. That's created a lot of protectors in my life, a lot of lenses that I kind of see things through that I will work with for the rest of my life. But this friend said, why not you? Why not you? Why are you not the one? She says, I wasn't taught this. And I don't have it in my body to even know how to talk about it. So why not you? You have it in your body. You should show that that's okay. Show what it looks like to talk about it. And so that helped me. As I look back at my notes, just bear with me. Being intentional with my clients around sexuality has been one of the most sacred parts of my work. And this is what I've learned. Helping someone realize that their sexuality is inherent and that they're not broken takes time and effort. So if someone comes into my office and says, I don't know about this inside of my body, like I feel like I'm a bad person, or I hate it, I can say, well, let me just write this on a paper and say, you're good. Let me tell you, you are normal, you're good. Now go forth and create, right? I can just, here's your note, your prescription. A little bit the permission, it does give a lot of, or somewhat of a foundation, but it doesn't go to that deep place where the pain is. And so sitting with them layer on layer, and I like to liken trauma or buried treasure, and the word buried treasure comes from Body Keeps the Score kind of a book. If you've read that, we'll talk about that in a minute. Or Internal Family System Parts Work, Richard Schwartz. Okay, those are just some notes. But I like to think about it as a fire on the mountain. So many times we talk about the things in our life that are hard, and it's just the smoke that we're talking about. We never go to the fire. We pretend the fire's not there, as it burns down the whole mountain, right? It's like, look at all that smoke. We got to find the fire. And I'm not talking about just fire of passion. I'm talking about fire of the pain, the hurt, the loneliness that's inside of us that we don't talk about. One of my clients that's a mature man, I'm going to call him Frank. I can tell you stories, but I just can't give you identifying information. Is it in a long-term marriage, and this can be like this for many people. This is the same scenario. It's a emotionally safe marriage, and I'm a little bit weary on that word even. They're friends. They're really good friends. They do a lot of great things together. Sexually, they're disconnected. And they have more of a roommate relationship. And just a little side note, if you don't know what sexless marriage means, it's 10 or less times a year is a sexless marriage. That's what we call that. And they were usually with therapy. One person is more like, let's do this. And the other person's like, dragging it. And so that happens. And with this couple, with this man, that's what's happened. And slowly uncovering a lot of this, and there's always more to the story for both of them. It's not like, hey, can you just stop feeling like it's duty sex and figure it out? Or can you just, shut off your desire and figure it out? No. This is about taking the time that it takes to go to those places and talk about that vulnerability, talk about those vulnerable places that no one has ever seen, especially your person that you are creating with, and maybe it doesn't really feel like creation. I mean, sexuality is, you are the most vulnerable of anything in your life. I'm going to say another big word. You are bare naked, literally. You are completely bare, just like a child. Like you're giving everything. And if that's not a safe place, then all this pain and frustration and hurt and rejection and fears come up. And remembering for all of you that there are stories in here that are a lot, that are more than a lot. There's pain in here that is undescribable, indescribable. And as I tell you, the things that I've heard, I would love to actually tell you how much I actually have heard. You'd all be fainted over, literally, because there's more pain than we believe, and the happiness that can come from really being vulnerable and teaching and talking about this is freeing. It's freedom. Another client that I will call Jeff came in and said, am I normal? I am a man, been married, and I'm divorced, and I have sexual feelings, and I think they're out of control. I think there's something wrong with me. And he tells me, and I said, you're normal. He cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. Because he had been in a relationship that was a little tough that way. One person, because of her upbringing and her scripts and her narratives, no shame there, just what was happening, had basically held all the keys to his sexuality. And he just said, I don't know what's normal anymore. I don't even know what I want or what I like. We talked a little bit, I mentioned the book, The Body Keeps the Score. It is a powerful reminder that trauma stays in our body. It's inside of us. The book, think about that title, it's by Bessel van der Kolk. He's one of the leading experts on trauma. The first third of the book is about soldiers, PTSD. And then it goes on to attachment and your life with your parents and that attachment piece. That's incredibly important, that connection piece. And then it goes on to parts work and understanding the different parts inside of us. And when I had my person, so I like to call him, his name's Brad, read that, he's a beekeeper. It's one of his side 1,000 things he likes to do. They're amazing. He was listening to Body Keeps the Score, and he sent me a picture of himself because he was crying. Because it touched a part of him that just feels like validation. It's like, oh, there's parts in here that are my story. And he felt that in his body, and he wanted to share that with me. And he took the courage to show me his face crying as he's reading about this. And then we had this beautiful conversation about what that brought up for him. So if you'd like to read it, I do say that it is powerful. And it's not a book about sexuality. It's a book about trauma and how to understand it, and some interventions and help for you if there's parts of you that are traumatized. And all of us have parts of us that are. Do you know that trauma just means this when your nervous system is dysregulated, right? You're kind of feeling something different. And we can kind of call it big T or little t. It's that dysregulation, and it makes us do different things when we're feeling that way. Not safe. With this shame, what I really want you to feel is to know about those parts inside of you. What part is in pain? And what are you trying to soothe or escape or feel worthy of? And this doesn't excuse betrayal or harm. It doesn't. But to understand why we do what we do is different information than just assigning someone meaning to what they do. Like, you are bad because you do this, or I am bad because I do this. Instead of being curious and saying, there's more to this story. And I know that's a lot to ask. It's a lot. And it's not maybe proper for every relationship to do that, right? Because there's safety. And I keep saying that. I really want you to know that it's a wide range. But to be able to be curious about there's different parts of us. So we do not have, emotions are always right about something, right? You've heard the notion, if it's in the way, it is the way. Emotions are right about something. And through parts work and understanding, like if you want to eat a cookie, or if you want to lay on your bed and scroll through your phone or watch a movie, versus at the exact same time you're thinking, I really wanted to go on a walk, I should go on a walk. I'm going to go on a bike ride, or I was going to go out, work in my garden or something. So you have these two conflicting feelings. And there is one right and one wrong. Is one bad and one good. And that's the same thing with our sexual feelings, right? None of them are bad, but what they do can be bad, we'll say, right? But what they point to underneath is loneliness and pain and fears, insecurities, narratives, right? The most profound truth I've discovered in all my work, whether I'm sitting with someone navigating anxiety, depression, sexuality, trauma, conflict, is that all of us have this light inside of us. And we hear this our whole life, right? We have the light of Christ in us. We have the Holy Ghost. We have all of this inside of us. But do you really know what that feels like for yourself? Do you really know? We all have, this is our divine source, a sacred place inside of us. And it comes with these words of connected, courageous, curious, calm. When you feel that way, you are in your calm, your real self. If I walk into this room, which I did, obviously, it's really deep. Do I look at you guys, and do I have a lot of different parts that come up inside of me? Do I have a lot of different feelings that come up inside of me when I look at you? Do I think, well, let me tell you what I think. I'm 7 years old. That's what I think. And what the heck am I doing standing here? I'm a little person, little girl from Farron, Utah. Nobody even knows where that is. Maybe 5 of you do. Yeah, there she goes. Why am I here talking to you? I'm small. I'm not enough. I'm stupid. I worked so hard to get straight A's because I wanted to be capable and competent. So those are that's being honest. So if I lead with that, then you're going to see a lot of protectors inside of me come out. But if I look at you and I shift back into my curiosity and my love, then I'm in myself, right? Am I better than you? Am I less than you? Right? Those are different kind of parts that we have inside of us. The answer is no, I'm not. Elder Patrick Kieran, God is not a traffic cop doing a little jig when he gets to turn you away. Instead, God is in relentless pursuit of you. Don't you love that one? His mission is to save you, and he's really good at it. Some of the most sacred moments of my work are really knowing who I am, like I talked about. And when I sit with people that are struggling with their sexuality, not with their sexuality, but their fears, their shame, their desires, or just couples that are in so much conflict. And I would really like to have one of those easy buttons, a push button, and a trap door come open, by the way. I'm like, you guys just do that, I gotta go. So, what I want you to know, and what this is about, what we're talking about today, is I know who I am. I know I'm a sexual being. I know I'm a good person. I know I love me. Have I always felt that as strong as I do now? And will I feel that in 20 years, maybe stronger? Probably. I have worked and been very intentional about seeing myself in a spiritual, true light, like a goddess light that we are told that we are. And so I have been intentional about that, to really see me. Like, see what I look like, literally, my hair, what I'm wearing, my clothes, my face, my light. And this is kind of personal. It's me being vulnerable. I've done some intentional work to really see me, because I'll tell you, most of my clients don't really know who they are. They right, I have those parts in me that I'm bad. So what I have is in the back of in my office, behind the door, I have a mirror. And before I do a session, I look into the mirror and I see me. I take a moment with myself and I truly see me. And it changes my cells in that moment. And I remember what I'm doing here. And guess what? The answer always is, it's about love. And then I open the door, and I'm in my place. I'm in me. I'm in my true core source, my divine. I know that everyone in this room carries a different story about sexuality, and some of those stories are full of joy, and some are full of confusion, silence, pain, and I want you to know that I honor that journey. And I won't be able to touch on everything. Connection is not a luxury. It is essential. It is as essential as air. In fact, the nervous system requires connection to function well. Think about the prison. Where do they, and you can answer this out loud, where do you go if you break the rules? Yeah. And why is that? Why is solitary confinement so painful? There's no connection. Yeah. And I kind of think sometimes as a mother, I want to go to jail. I just need 1 week sometimes when my kids were little. Like I said, I had 6 little kids and 4 boys first. Yeah. I thought, if I could just, but that's not the one we're talking about. Solitary confinement. A brain needs another brain to connect and to feel seen. It's in our nervous system. I think of a couple, and again, this could be any number of couples that I've worked with. One partner has higher desire, and the other has very little. And the pain in the relationship wasn't just about sex. What was it really about? It was about that ache for connection. One partner longed to say, I miss you, but I block you because I'm scared. I don't know how to find you. I don't know how to ask for what I need. And the other, aching just as deeply, felt hopeless, unseen, undesirable. They were broken. They were disconnected. And I've heard so many times from men, I just want to be chosen. I just want to be seen. I want to be wanted and desired. It's not about sex. It's about connection. One of the most healing moments I've ever witnessed is when a couple stops trying to fix each other and really starts seeing each other and asking different questions and creating that safe space. And this isn't just done overnight. This takes time. This takes foundation. A lot of the feelings that you have or have had in relationships that have been that you've struggled in, especially around sexuality, a lot of that stuff was created when you were little, about how to do emotions and how to do safety, right? I do, as I've kind of mentioned, I do have a bit of a soapbox for men. Being a woman, I feel like that's fine, because I already have the soapbox of being a woman. And so I do have this extra soapbox for men. We have labeled men as bad for having strong sexual desires. And it breaks my heart. And there's biological reasons that we're different. And the truth is, if you understand testosterone, when a man is 18 years old, he has 1,000 nanograms of testosterone. Anybody, besides those that heard my last one, anybody know how much a woman has at 18? 3. She said 3. It's pretty close. 10. 75. We're not the same. We're not twins. Why did that happen? God believes in some kind of synergy, right? It's not. Is that just about procreation? Like, I gotta go. I gotta go. We gotta create. We gotta mate. Why do we need both? Why is a desire different and the way to find it different? There's reason, right? It creates the most beautiful experience to have both. And we could kind of joke that if we're really grateful, because women probably, would be like, okay, maybe not as often. Our brains don't work the same. We are not visually stimulated the same. We are driven by connection and emotional safety. We are driven by 24/7 foreplay, not 7-minute foreplay. Right? I've never said that before. That is good, though. I gotta write that down. I'm gonna be famous. Okay. Oh, but the 24/7, we've heard that. 24/7 foreplay, being able to really create that emotional safety all the time. Okay. Connection strengthens us. It anchors us. It was never meant to be earned. It was meant to be remembered. So, how many of you can relate to growing up in a low-sugar household? Do you know what that means? We had honey. So, there's 10 of us. Okay, you need to be in a club or a group together. Support group, that's the word, thank you. We need a support group. Everybody else, you guys just go to sleep. You don't even understand what it feels like to want sugar when you're a child. So, we did. So I would mix the peanut butter and honey together and put raisins in it and eat it with a spoon. That was the best. That was my treat. We had carob chips down in the basement. I remember going down. And, the carob chips? If you don't know those, go get some of those. We used honey, ate oatmeal. Every day I had a different kind of mush. My kids didn't know what oatmeal was because I fed my kids the same way, right? Lots of mush. When somebody said, "Do you want some oatmeal?" They're like, "What? I don't know what that is." But they knew what mush was. And every Christmas, is kind of when we had the sugar cereal. We didn't have it any other time and we had it in those little boxes. So it was mine is Lucky Charms. So if anybody out there knows, I need Lucky Charms. Captain Crunch Fruit. So what did I do? I remember one of my friends' house, her mom made pastries, and I swear it was like a bakery. And I said, what is happening? And she's like, this is how it always is, and it was. And I was just like in a candy store. So what did I do? Overindulged. Went to my friend Kara's house. And in the Lazy Susan in the corner, I remember it was, her mom was so cool. She was like, eat whatever you want. I would go there and I would eat cereal after school. And all the kinds, right? And it's kind of embarrassing, but makes sense, right? Because I never had that. And this is what we do with sex. We restrict, we fear, we obsess. And some of us, when we finally get access, we binge or we panic. We shame ourselves. You guys have heard the word good girl syndrome or bad boy syndrome. That bad boy syndrome doesn't sound the same as the good girl syndrome, but it's the same. Men have that too. I have many men that don't understand their sexuality, and they just feel like it's bad. And they have asked me how they can actually get rid of their sexuality. Is there drugs? And I've had a few women ask me that too, just so you know. There are a few. The few unicorns. Wait, just kidding. Sugar and sexuality aren't bad, but we need a relationship with them, not restriction or indulgence, regulation. Wait, that kind of sounds really boring, but it's kind of the word. Joy and understanding. Sexual development is about embodiment. If we fear every impulse, we never feel safe in our own body. And I want you to kind of feel that. If you never, just a minute, because I can't see it anymore. If we fear every impulse, we never feel safe in our own body. Is that what we're supposed to do? I mean, think of all the shoulds and bees and as a Latter-day Saint to do and be. Are we supposed to fear our own body? This kind of sounds interesting. I've kind of heard that before. If we follow every impulse, we lose clarity. But when we learn to listen with curiosity, with flexible structure, we can embrace, regulate, but not restrict. It's kind of like a gate with hinges, not walls. I have one client, as we talk about our inner world, there's so many walls in our inner world with these little parts of us, these little children behind them. And that's why I just see these walls that we build inside of ourselves. And we need to build gates with shiny latches, not rusty locks. Sexual development isn't just about restraint, it's about embodiment. It's about learning what your body feels, what it needs, how to understand those impulses, and how to manage them without shame. So you can enjoy your body, not fear it. So you can experience joy, safety, and pleasure, not anxiety, guilt, shame. And just like sugar, sexuality is sweeter when it's not forbidden or compulsive. Okay, we're doing both sides. But chosen, honored, integrated into your well-being and your relationship with someone you love in a safe and secure, bonded environment. Not all the outliers that we're talking about. So I want you to reflect on your values. What are your values? What are your values? The law of chastity is about stewardship, not suppression. It empowers us to direct our desires. So the hard truth is that in our culture, and I know we all have different feelings about this, but there's a lot of different areas. There's some interesting words. I'm not going to use those, but there's some interesting words about different areas and how the culture is in different wards and what happens in different shame, okay? And some of my clients have had amazing experiences with their leadership, and some haven't. And they're all doing the best they can, and I get that. This is just the truth that I know all of you talk about this when you're not sitting in here, because I hear it all the time, that there's different cultures, different leadership, different feelings in different areas. And some words like host really great. Fifth Sunday. I think I'm getting you. We have 5 minutes, 3 minutes, right? Some have this fifth Sunday kind of feeling like it's really great. And others are not so great. And there's some really horrible doctrine about chewed up gum, right? Maybe we heard that. They're not doing that hopefully anymore. Or the nails, I heard that one too. The nails, you take the nail off the nail, you're still got a hole in there. For me, it was my bishop, which I love him as my best friend's dad. I love him to pieces. He said to me, it's all of us, but it felt like to me, you are in charge of any kind of advances from a boy. You are in charge. They cannot control themselves. And I was 16 and I was like, yes, I got this. I didn't feel, he was telling me the truth. And then a wonderful, wonderful experience with my husband as we were dating. He looked at me and said, Melissa, I want to wait too. You're not in charge of my sexuality. I'm in charge of my sexuality. And all of us need to be in charge of our own sexuality. It is not for someone else to be in charge of our sexuality. That's it. Because our sexuality is not separate from our faith, it is woven into it. It is not an obstacle to righteousness. It's a part of our morality. It's a part of our spirituality, and it's a part of our soul. I literally want to make sure, as I finish here, that I let you guys know that the question isn't whether you feel it, that it's how you will relate to it. I want you to notice your body. I want you to notice. If you have a sexual feeling, say, oh, I'm normal. I'm normal. If you don't have a sexual feeling, oh, I'm normal. We're all normal. In the book Come As You Are, really great book for men and women to read about sexuality. It's got trauma, pleasure. It's very, very helpful for couples and for individuals to read about their sexuality. It is our job to learn how to understand this beautiful gift that God gave us that's in our body, that is for creation, that is for love, that is for sharing. The dopamine is when you're alone. That sexuality is when you're alone. That hits that dopamine. But when you're with someone, you have oxytocin with it, and it's the greatest feeling in the world when you have the oxytocin, the bonding chemical, mixed with the dopamine. There's no ride better on earth than those two together. And you know what I'm talking about. As you can tell, I'm not shy. So, as we finish, I just want you to touch on the word addiction. I want you to be more careful with it, and probably you are. We don't call people sex addicts. No. There's only a few of us that actually can. And it takes a lot of criteria to create that. Sometimes there's usage, and there's always reasons if there's a pornography usage or anything. There's reasons. And these reasons can harm people and can harm relationships. And there's reasons. And so I just want you to just know that I know there's lots of stories. That's just something that we need to change the culture here and not call each other, not label each other, but be curious about each other. I love talking about the elephant in the room and the mirror that we hold in my mirror. When I see myself in my mirror, I'm not just seeing my glory in my mirror. I'm seeing my creation and my ability to create. And if we're truly gods and goddesses, then we weave this sexuality into us, and we speak of it with grace and purity and love. And sometimes you can have a little fun with it too. I do like to have a little fun with it too. So I'd like to bear my testimony about this. I love God. I love that He loves me. I love Jesus Christ, and I know He loves me. I know it in my bones, and I teach my children every day that they, no matter what they do, I see them. No matter if they're in prison or a rock star on a soccer field, I love them to sing, and they don't have to earn it. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Sorry about the questions. We didn't get to that part.
Okay. So I just want to thank Melissa for covering a subject that I've never heard of, coming to these things for off and on about 20 years. And it's a sensitive subject. And I think she's got a lot of guts to come up here and talk about it and do it in such a sensitive way. When I joined the church in '86, one thing that drew me to the church was people don't get paid for this. And she did a PowerPoint. She went to all this to come out here. So just for Melissa, show of hands, how many people this is worthwhile coming today? Just a show of hands. There you go, that's for you. Thank you. Because I don't think they know how much they're appreciated by them coming out here and helping us with things. One thing I'd like to say real quick is that a thing that would dovetail this talk really good is a talk by Jeffrey R. Holland of Soul, Symbols, and Sacrament. I've got a copy of it. Anybody can ask me for it, and I'd be glad to loan it to you. It's a great, great talk about what she was talking about too. It dovetails perfectly with it. The other thing is that connection is not a luxury, it's an essential as air. It reminds me of that triangle. And you have Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father up here at the top. And you've got one side is yourself, the other side is your spouse. And the closer you get to Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, the closer you will become with your spouse. Is that not correct? And I know that that's true. And anyway, I'm rambling. We need to eat and stuff. And Michelle's going to give us a closing prayer with a blessing on the food. And you want to say something?
Yeah, just wanted to make quick announcements. So we've been hearing about the regions and things being split up. I just want to clarify that we have spoken with our Area 70 authorities. We will continue having our dances, we'll continue having our firesides, and we're continuing to have our conferences. There's no plan to stop doing what we're currently doing. So just want to kind of put you at ease. Each of the other regions outside of here are coming up to speed, and so they're trying to figure things out. And so there are going to be differences between our region and the other regions. But just to let you know, the plan and the conversation is that we're going to maintain the status quo, and we're not going away. And also, again, those that are new, gone through death or divorce, if you'd meet me in the Relief Society room for 10 minutes, it'd be good to hear what I have to hear. It'll help you to understand things a lot better. And we'll turn it to Michelle for prayer.
Our dear Father in heaven, we humbly bow before Thee in gratitude for this wonderful conference in which we've been able to participate. We're grateful for our sister Melissa Barton for her message and for all of the speakers that have taken time to come and deliver messages with Thy Spirit. We're so grateful for the gifts that we've been given, and especially for our Savior Jesus Christ. We ask a blessing upon the food, that it may nourish and strengthen us, and we say these things humbly in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.